Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to OSHA, the place where you come from just to learn what not to do, whether that be at work, whether that be at a friend's house, just generally just what not to do in any kind of circumstance, ranging from electricity to just putting rocks above your face. Honestly, sometimes these posts just completely surprise me about how creatively unsafe it is. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? Alrighty then, so starting off with technically not incorrect. Oh no, whoa! Hand sanitizer. I mean, I guess kind of. You are certainly not going to have any kind of bacteria living on your hand after they've been exposed to a blowtorch. But then again, at the same time, you can't have any bacteria living on your hand if you just don't have a hand anymore, because really these people are just going, nah, the fact that soap usually kills, you know, like 99.99% of germs is not enough. We have to take it 100%. We want nothing to survive this thing. And I guess really on that note, that none of these posts that we're about to see should ever be attempted at home. I mean, I guess in this case it's very nice that they put a kettle there. So if you actually poured boiling water over your hand, it would actually be cooling it down compared to the blowtorch, or not cooling it down, but it would be cooler. But I really just can't understand where anyone thought that this was going to be a good idea, and why it is even written on there just doesn't even make sense. I mean, perhaps it's actually a little bit self-aware, but really at the same time I feel as though out of everything you ever could have chosen, that is certainly not something that you should just kind of be mucking around with, and definitely not saying that it's hand sanitizer. And hey, who knows, considering the fact that it's actually in Sharpie, maybe someone was actually just looking at hand sanitizer and then accidentally wrote hand sanitizer on the blowtorch, or perhaps it's actually just kind of missing a few letters and it's meant to be chandelier sanitizer. But no, really, like I said in the beginning, I just have no idea why anyone would ever kind of be running hand sanitizer on a blowtorch, because beside the fact that, like the title said, is obviously not incorrect, it seems as though it's just going to be so much more of a hassle than wearing a mask and just using normal hand sanitizer, not, you know, heat hand sanitizer. And I guess thinking about it, hopefully this workshop just doesn't have guests just walking through all the time, because they'll just go, my hands do feel a little bit dirty, so I guess I might just use a little bit of this hand sanitizer that someone has left so kindly here for me. So yeah, really, I feel as though if that was me, I would just be grabbing a rag, grabbing a little bit of metho, and just kind of rubbing the entire wording off. Sometimes you just gotta get her done. Holy moly, that is absolutely insane. That almost looks like a Three Stooges skit or something, or I almost feel as though I need to be turning my head to kind of be seeing it in the right orientation, because that just looks absolutely ridiculous. I just cannot believe that anyone has actually agreed to be doing that, you know, because regardless of the fact that the entire thing is just completely dangerous, it's not even like he's wearing a harness and they're actually holding onto the harness. No, they're just kind of holding onto his woolen jumper, so if he did fall, it's just going to rip straight through. And also at the same time, if they were somehow able to hold on to him, there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to support him enough where they don't just get impaled on these little bits of Rio right here. So wow, I don't actually know if I've ever seen a post that incorporates more kind of unsafe things in one photo. You know, I feel as though if I just kind of block these three guys out and just look at this one guy, then that would be a normal OSHA post. But when you look at this entire photo and you just see every little thing that has just been incorrectly done, that is just unreal that they've managed to incorporate that many things, or really just that many risks into one kind of maneuver. I mean, I'd love to know what he's actually doing that is that important that it just has to be done, you know, like the title said, sometimes you just gotta get her done. Because really, to be the poor bastard, or maybe even the apprentice or something like that, that is somehow being coaxed into doing something like that, there are just multiple stories up, unless they can actually fall onto there, who knows. Either way, if he falls, he's just gonna go like that and just land on his neck. And really, regardless of this entire guy and all the things that is going on there, I wouldn't even want the responsibility of just knowing that I'm the only thing that's keeping this person up. Because really, accidents happen, people get tired, there were so many things that just could go wrong, especially considering he's just standing on two kind of extended pieces of Rio. I mean, I guess looking at it a little bit further, it looks as though the concrete is, considering this guy got his boots on and they're kind of doing all the formwork and the ply work around the kind of concrete. So perhaps it was something to do with they had kind of a loose bottom, they just had concrete pouring out the side. Either way, I just can't understand how that is going to be the most efficient way to actually get this done. Also, looking at the photo, this guy's actually basically drilling at head height, and the other guys are holding him by the back of his shirt at head height as well. So there's virtually been no kind of reach gain by doing this at all. It just doesn't even make sense. So yeah, really guys, just please next time just hire an EWP. Even if you don't have an EWP ticket, I feel as though that's going to be safer than actually just doing this. Once again, not that that's recommended by any means, but I feel as though out of the two situations, if I just had to pick one, I'd rather have someone in a boom that has never driven a boom than doing what they're doing right here. And so really, I feel as though that sentence alone just speaks volumes as to what we're actually looking at right here. Warming up some gelled diesel. I'm going to be honest and say I have absolutely no idea what gelled diesel is, but I guess if I had to take a guess, I can only imagine that if it got really cold, even actually no, that would just be stupidly cold. Or I guess actually a little bit more likely, maybe it's just really old. But either way, it just doesn't take away from the fact that it is diesel and they're just lighting a fire underneath a fuel tank. Actually, I'm just going to search it up. Oh my goodness, it is actually when it gets super cold. Diesel gelling is when cold temperatures cause diesel fuel to turn from a liquid to a gel-like substance. Wow, I didn't even know I could realistically get that cold to be able to do that to diesel, so that's pretty incredible. But I guess in that case, a fire actually makes a little bit more sense. And really, all I can see now is just kind of a stock photo of what not to do, you know, just if you were doing any kind of safety course, even if you just probably searched up what not to do with fuel, I feel as though this would be just the first image that there is. I mean, I guess really, even though this is obviously not what you're meant to do, I have no idea what you actually are meant to do, considering I can't really think about any other way to kind of warm up that much diesel, you know. With a fuel tank like that, it's going to be 200 or 300 or 400 liters that you're going to have to try and heat up. I can only imagine that that's a hell of a lot of heat and energy that you have to be putting into that diesel just to get it back to kind of drivable. So yeah, really, maybe some of you cold weather connoisseurs can just let me know what you actually go about doing with this. And does it happen to fuel as well, you know, like petrol fuel? Because like I said, I had no idea what it was and I'd never even heard of it before. I mean, I guess it does sound a little bit funny, but at least it is diesel and it shouldn't just explode in the same way that petrol might. I'm fairly sure that diesel especially requires aerosolization. Is that the right word? I don't even know, but it's just required that it's spread into a nice fine mist before it actually probably catches alight. But there must be a better way to go about heating up all that gel diesel than lighting a naked flame underneath it. Ash roll being rolled at Talagada, what the hell is that word? Speedway 1969. Oh my goodness, that's an incredible photo. Look at that. I mean, I guess it does make sense that they have to do it this way. I have no idea how they do it now, but I can only imagine they have some kind of machine that is able to create and roll that kind of slope surface, but still actually to maintain that grip. But obviously back then when you have a T-Rex hiding in the trees back there was just no other way to go about doing it than this. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they only pick up the front of the car, I feel as though the rear end might just be able to swing around. And so boys, I feel as though maybe just a third pickup to the back or something, if you're able to do that, should definitely be considered, and I reckon you'd almost get a better result as well. But really, even though this is obviously not the most safe thing to be doing, especially by today's standards, at the same time I almost kind of feel as though this doesn't belong on this sub, considering it was so long ago in the scheme of things, and safety and standards have completely changed since then. This just would have been how they'd done it, and now you would have been absolutely kicked offside if you do it like that. Really, overall, it's kind of similar to the photo, well, I guess it's actually quite popular, that is of the 6 or the 8 guys or whatever it is just having lunch, but they're just sitting on a beam like 400 meters above the street level. And so yeah, even though I do agree that this is obviously an OSHA post, at the same time I just feel as though it's an incredible photo that just perfectly captures kind of, the entire work environment at the time. And really, I guess on that note, just imagine this sub if we were still living back then, this would probably be the biggest subreddit in the world, considering you just have so many posts of just just everyday construction just kind of going wrong, or not even gone wrong, but just by today's standards, just absolutely ridiculously risky work. Just started as a safety guy of a new plant, we've got a little ways to go. Ah yes, the old smoking next to the extremely flammable gas is never a good idea, is it? I mean, but really honestly, looking at this photo, I'm surprised that any cigarette butts are even in the kind of the ashtray, because really, let's be honest now, smokers are some of the worst kind of litterers in the world. They just leave the cigarette butts everywhere and anywhere that they want to, whether that be on the table, on the floor, in the road, in the gutter, in your food, I don't know, but they just sometimes seem to be everywhere. But at least these guys actually know what to do in terms of actually disposal. So, like they said, just a little ways to go, not a massive way to go, just a little way to go. I mean, I guess in the grand scheme of things, maybe it is a little bit more than a little ways to go, considering if that goes off, it certainly won't be a little explosion. But hey, at least this safety officer kind of recognizes the fact that, they do have a little bit of way to go, and that's what he's exactly there for. But then again, at the same time, he's not saying, oh, these people are worthless, just get them off the job site. No, I reckon he's actually been very reasonable in the way that he's worded the post. Many safety officers would absolutely get you kicked off site and give you an absolute grilling if you just kind of walk past the cage and just look at the gas canisters wrong. Whereas, like I said, this guy seems to be reasonable, and I feel as though that's actually the best approach to take, because sometimes you just get these absolute tough nut safety officers that just come in absolutely swinging, and then so really everyone just kind of hates them, and some people even go out of their way to kind of make it a bad day. So I'm sure it'll be fine in the end, and I'm sure this safety officer will sort it out. It might even just be the case to just have to move the smoking area away from the gas canisters, or even just the other way around. Whatever it may be, I'm sure it's a fairly easy fix. And so really, as a safety officer, if that's the worst of your problems, well, I reckon you're doing pretty well. Mobile ground for your ground wire. Hang on a minute, I feel as though this one just has to be self-aware. There is no way anyone is actually thinking that the ground or the earth actually needs to be going into earth for it to work. But no, really, looking at it more, it just has to be self-aware. I just refuse to believe that that isn't being sarcastic or even just self-aware. Because really, unless this is some kind of funky lamp, that almost looks like a shower head, so what the hell is that doing in there? Who knows? And really, I reckon what does it for me is the fact that that earth wire isn't just kind of loosely out and about, no, someone's actually trying to be a little bit funny and has actually made it go into earth. Because really, I guess they don't specify, do they? It says earth needs to go to earth, and that's exactly what they've done here. They've taken it from the power point, and then with the earth cable, they've just basically made a pot plant, and it looks lovely in that regard. Never mind the fact that it's in a plastic cup, and that's actually going to be insulating it so it doesn't actually work very well at all. No, that'll be fine, we'll just kind of work around it. So yeah, really, I'm just convinced that this one is actually self-aware, because at least in that case, I can actually have a smile for once and not just be absolutely freaking out because I'm seeing something that is just, just ridiculously unsafe. So I'm glad for as serious as this sub can be sometimes, that someone has a little bit of humor, and was just able to give me a brief fleeting moment with my heart where I was able to just kind of calm down a little bit before we actually have to move on to the next one. I'm sure just completely spike through the roof again. And hey, like I said at the start of the video, I'm just always so surprised about how creative people can be with their creations, regardless of how safe in this case or unsafe they might be in some other cases. It is always nice to see a little bit of creativity and just general kind of problem solving. I'm not sure what this is warning against, but it looks bad. Whoa, that is a serious sign. I mean, I guess really this symbol actually looks a little bit like arc or stick welding, and so I guess in that case maybe it's actually just talking about all the fumes that are just coming off the metal as it's being, welded together or whatever that thing is doing. I mean, I don't really know what is going on behind it, but I guess this pattern certainly does make sense of it trying to be a kind of molten metal and gases at the same time, because really that's exactly what welding is. It just kind of takes the metal, makes it molten, and just I'm sure some of it just evaporates into the air. And so yeah, it's obviously quite a dangerous thing. I don't know if this diagram accurately depicts what is actually going to happen to you if you do kind of be around welding, but perhaps they're actually just going for a better safe than sorry approach. You just have to look as though you're just going to get melted from the inside, and then suddenly no one is going to be around there anymore. So I guess it is nice of them to warn you of the fact that there might be kind of molten metal in your lungs if you kind of hang around this area. However, I do feel as though maybe a little bit of a revision to the sign that they use might be in order, just to maybe clear up a little bit of confusion about what the hell is going on here, so people aren't just kind of scratching their heads while standing next to it trying to figure it out for the next hour. I mean, hey, at least this post is only the warning sign. We don't have someone standing next to the warning sign just going, what the hell is this thing, just while they're inhaling all the fumes. So even though that poor guy on the sign probably won't agree because he seemed to be in some bad shape, we can certainly say that this one could be worse in some situations. Should we tell them? The classic small car problems when you just got long timbers and you have to transport and you just get a trailer and just no worries. I mean, I do feel feel as though anyone that has ever graced this sub with their presence, or even just anyone that has ever been online and seen a photo exactly like this before, whether it's this one exactly or not, you know, I have certainly seen this exact photo before, and I guess looking at it again, it just never does get old, you know, the fact that you can see that these ones aren't strapped, so unless they're just yet to strap those down, they have actually kind of thought about how the trailer is going to move and it's going to want to slide around, but it does need to be supported to some extent. This guy certainly won't be able to take very sharp turns, and considering he's going to be parked in the warehouse where there's often very sharp turns that you have to make, I don't even see how he's going to even leave the shop, let alone just make it all the way home. But you know, regardless of that fact, they have actually allowed for a little bit of slippage right here in the trailer. You know, they've realized that the trailer is an independent thing to some extent, and I guess if they were somehow able to make this work, it would certainly be an impressive feat. But then again, at the same time, I can't blame them for wanting to be able to try and get the timber home by themselves. So obviously they've got a small car, so it's not going to be an easy task, but I guess they thought, well look, you know, we either kind of get it delivered and that's going to be a lot of money to get all that timber delivered, or we hire a truck and that's going to be even more expensive, let alone if you can even drive the thing. So even though maybe not 100% thought has gone into what is actually going to happen when they actually take off, at least unlike some of the other posts that we've seen this month, I can actually understand where the thinking actually started from. And really, let's be honest, as long as it's kind of strapped down correctly, I reckon the worst thing they can probably do is either snap the timber or just kind of break the roof racks off. Either way, no one is getting seriously hurt and there's no major risk factor, so as funny as this may be to observe this from a distance, you know, just in a David Attenborough style voice, at least they are certainly not doing anything close to what some of the other people are doing on here. And so now finally for the top of the month for OSHA, we have, hey look, free time off. Oh no, this has actually kind of come full circle in terms of from that blowtorch at the start, now we have insert hand for time off. But yeah, looking at the kind of gnarly teeth on these gears, you're certainly going to be screaming and I guess screaming some swear words at the same time, because that certainly isn't going to tickle, and let alone the fact you might not even have any fingers left after this. And hey, even though I certainly hope not, I feel as though this might have even kind of been modeled off an incident that did occur. You know, that's why they have a very specific phrase in there, so to say. So even though I certainly can't confirm that this would have happened, I also can't deny that it might have happened. And so I guess I kind of hope that the person made a full recovery, even though I have no idea how you actually would have if that's what's happened to you. But as I said, it has absolutely come full circle from the start when we had, well, I guess you probably could have written insert have for time off on that one as well, you know, even though it would have been a little bit full because it already had hand sanitizer on it. However, really, I feel as though no matter how desperate you are for actually a little bit of time off, there is no way that anyone should be kind of taking the advice, or at least just trying to kind of put what the words say into practice, because it is just not going to be worth it. And so really, I feel as though just once again, I just have to absolutely hammer it home and say, just do not attempt any of these things. It is not going to be worth it, no matter how much time you want to get off work. But anyway, that is going to do it for the top of the month for OSHA. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to do the YouTube and things down below and let me know if you had a favorite post out of all these, you know, not one that you actually did, but just a favorite post. But other than that, we see awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out, or maybe even just want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.